This block is this probably like $100,000 a week block, you know. And we had basically we were plugged in with the management, so we had keys to several different units.
How did something like that happen?
Well, you know, if you got
money,
you know, money. Yeah, money is.
That's how it happened.
Say you took over, but how do you become a force on a block where you, like you said, there might be 15 or 20 guys out at
Absolutely.
Well, our first song
was roll where we want to roll, so we always lived by that. We never stuck to one hood. We always moved around. But this particular block, my Uncle
for those
Dane,
not from Detroit, what's roll?
Roll mean, you know,
we sell what we want to sell.
Trap.
We trap what we want to trap, whatever they want to say. Wherever we want to go, we go and do our thing. We ain't never been stuck to one side of the hood because I'm from this hood, so I'm going to be right here and hustle. We never had that mentality. We hustle where the money at. We go where the money at.
Okay, this block here, we had a stronghold on this block here. Back probably 04, 05.
Which is where are we?
We had Seward and Woodward, between 2nd and Woodward, Seward Street.
It's a block full of apartment buildings, you know what I'm saying? Like the whole block from both sides of the street is apartment buildings. So it's kind of like a block straight out New York, but in Detroit.
So what was going on with you guys over here back then?
Well, you know, we was doing a lot of things. A lot of things was going on. You know, we was making a lot of money. You know, and this area right here is back when Kwame was in office. He had ended up deeming it a red zone area, meaning that it was a high crime area, and you know, police could, you know, stop and search you at any given time. Anyone that was walking down this block. It's also close to downtown. It's the New Center area. Just a block over, you got $1 million houses.
You got the Boston area, all that stuff.
On the other side of Woodward, you got North End.
The North
Which
End.
is infamous.
Absolutely, very, very infamous in Detroit.
Okay, so the years they're talking about when they were here doing their thing, or like 04, 06, I was actually getting my graduate degree in economics at Wayne State, which is right down the street. And I worked at a unit called Center for Urban Studies. And we would be contracted by a lot of different places, including the city of Detroit, to process different kinds of data. One of those kinds of data was for Detroit police, make lists of where there was the most gunshots, the most 911 calls. Well, a building on this block right at the end was the #1 911 calls in the whole city of Detroit. And Detroit every year is #1, 2 crime in the United States. So this block was one of the hottest blocks in the hottest city, and I know that for sure from the stats.
We had a lot of stuff going on, you know.
What specifically?
You know, we basically most of it was marijuana type of thing.
What type of volume?
It was doing numbers, man. You know, it was just, for instance, it was probably 10 to 15 guys on one side of the street, 10 to 15 guys on this side of the street, and everybody was eating good.
But it wasn't all just marijuana.
Yeah,
No, it was
That's what you might have been doing.
Right.
It might have been different bags all over, you know.
Yeah.
From PCP to anything you could think of was on this block.
PCP.
Anything you could think of, it was right here on this block. And most of the clientele that the guys had it was beautiful because these buildings was our clientele. And if you look around at the buildings, you see it's so many people live in all these buildings, and that was our clientele. So all we had to do was stand out here, and they come down and get served anything they want.
Was there a division between you and the other guys that were here? Any problems?
Well, yeah, we had issues like I was gonna say. My Uncle Dane, he was the first one over here, and so we migrated over here because there was a lot of money on this block. We had a lot of problems, you know, but not us per se, because I don't think a lot of motherfuckers really wanted to fuck with us because they kind of knew our history and what we was about. But we had little issues.
But other people had issues with, like the North End, you know, and what we just talking about the North End. See, the North End clientele will come over here. We didn't even have to go over there and give out samples or this and that to try to persuade them to come this way. They come this way anyway. So the North End guys was mad because they customers come over here. So we had a natural beef with them because of that.
And you were just not too long after beating a triple murder.
Right.
Can you briefly just overview us with that?
Well, unfortunately, things happen, and and
What were you
we was
charged
charged. We was charged with murder one.
Triple.
Yeah.
And what was that? Tell us about the case being severed and one of the defendants got life and two of you beat it.
Yeah.
The trial, there was no pleas or nothing.
Well, they snatched us up basically, and tried to try us together. And our lawyers deemed that we be tried separate. You know what I'm saying? So they split us up, and we went through the trial. They showed their evidence, what they had. Our lawyers fought good, and we won. You know what I'm saying? And
So tell us about, like, there was a crazy incident. Tell us about the Santana guy.
Okay, yeah, rest in peace, Santana. That's my baby.
Oh, he
R.I.P. Santana.
Yeah. Santana got killed on this block. So basically, about a couple months after we migrated over here, Santana, we was introduced to Santana. He was actually already here, and he was from San Diego, California. He was a SDC, San Diego Crip. Him and his little brother had some problems in Cali, and they moved here. And it was very interesting to me that it was a Cali guy who was surrounded by all these Detroit cats. He wasn't scared. He started hustling, doing this thing, and a lot of guys respected him because he had a lot of heart. We ended up befriending him and getting cool, and me and him was like this, so we was rolling together, and we made it to where, a lot of guys used to try to pick on him because he wasn't from here, and
because the women
liked him.
Liked him.
He was a
handsome guy. He had long hair.
He was Mexican.
Mexican
Right.
guy. And the girls, the ones, kept money in his pocket and kept him fresh.
That's right.
So they used to hate on that shit,
What was that particular incident?
So he got into it one day, me, my bro, Santana, and Toe Tag. We was standing inside of building 100.
Toe Tag.
Yeah, Toe Tag. Yeah, he a cool guy. He was on the other side,
And
though,
he had a
at the time.
tattoo. Tell us.
Yeah, he had a tattoo on his back of a guy on the gurney with his foot hanging out with a toe on his tag,
Okay.
with a tag on his toe, rather. But
So he's beefing with Santana.
yeah, he beat with Santana. We was in there just kind of kicking it like we do. Sometimes we mingle with them because it ain't all hate. It was love, but we were still in competition with each other.
And we were separate entities on this side and separate entities on that side. And the customers, they just come to who they want to come to.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? But if somebody try to intervene on a customer that's coming our way, then it'd be trouble, which we never had that trouble. But, other people have. Everybody on the block was not equal or equally respected. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So the weaker people, the ones had the problems. Plus, I went to Northern and all that. So when the North End guys came over, I'm North End also. I just choose to be over here. I could have been over there or over here. Didn't matter. So when they come over, the North End guys come over here and be shooting at the other guy and all that, they ain't mess with me because I'm both places. Because like I told you before, my theory is I roll where I want to roll.
That's right.
But I didn't get messed
That day
with.
was Santana and Toe Tag.
So we were in the stairwell, and they had some words, and Toe Tag asked us. He said, "Man, y'all ain't gonna jump me, are y'all?" We like, "No, y'all, head up, one-on-one, squab it out." So they got to fighting. Now, prior to this, he had about 2 or 3 fights with Toe Tag already, and he made the comment to me like, "I ain't fighting these niggas no more. I'm tired of fighting them." So they got into they little scuffle. They was fighting in the hallway. We ended up breaking it up after a while. And Santana ran out the 100 building, ran over here to this building we standing in front of. And I knew what he was going to do, but he came back outside, hair down like Desperado. He had 2 pistols.
Ready.
Shooting from here.
Ready.
Across the street. Shooting.
Ready.
As soon as he leave out the door, he's shooting. He chased Toe Tag up in the building.
The building you see where the yellow things at, that's the building me chasing them up in. Start shooting all up in the building. Boop, 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 boop.
Yeah. And
You know what I'm saying?
just so happened, he chased Toe Tag in the building and shot through the door, but we were outside this whole time, and we seen the narcos at the end of the block, and they were taking cover with their guns. They heard the shots. They just happened to be there. So he ran. We told him the hook. He ran back across here, ran the building. They could never find him because we just had too many hideouts in here. So they looked for him for a long time, couldn't find him. One day they caught up with us though, because we got comfortable.
And what happened?
One day, probably about 2 to 3 months later, we started to come back over here, slowly but surely, and they were planning a raid, and we just so happened to get caught in the raid. Got caught with nothing on us, or nothing like that, but they tried to put a lot of shit on me that day, but they got him that night as well, and he went and did his time. He got out. And shortly after he got out, he got killed over here, and somebody else beef. Then he had nothing to do with him.
Tell us about how you got out of a case because of a Detroit PD crooked or whatever.
Yeah, crooked as fuck. So
what happened?
that night, this guy named Smoke came and told me it was somebody in the alley I'd never seen before, a couple guys. So I creeped to the alley. Santana was with me, and I opened the back door. As soon as I opened the door, they flung the door open. Police, get on, get on. You know what I mean? So they had me. I ain't had shit on me. They searched me. I was clean. So they bring me out here, set me on the stoop right here in front of 100. And they hit one of the apartments that was downstairs in the basement, and they start bringing out shit. Now, mind you, it's about 15 niggas that stash their shit in this particular apartment. Oh. You know, so it's all type of shit in
Drugs,
this apartment.
guns?
Everything. So
that was everybody's stash, the whole block stash.
Right. So obviously I was
on this side.
On this side, right. I was caught at the back door. So I had no knowledge of the apartment. You know, I wasn't caught in the apartment, by the apartment, but they wanted to put the shit on me. So, plus they had a vendetta against me because they never could catch me, and they wanted to write my name in their pad and know who I am. I would never give them the opportunity. So they used to tell my brother shit like, we gonna get your little brother. Yep. You know.
We gonna get his running ass and we catch him.
Yeah.
We gonna get his ass.
Yeah. So basically, they took me to jail. They charged me with felony firearm, dangerous drugs, felony marijuana. The next morning, I'm thinking I'm finna, because in my head, I'm like, they didn't catch me with shit, so what are they gonna charge me with, So the next morning, they let me out. And just so happened I was on probation for a CCW at the time. So they let me out. I thought I was all good in my head, thinking I'm good. So I go to my PO probably about 2 weeks later. And she said, hey, you been arrested, you got some shit on your record, that's showing pending that I'm seeing. I'm like, no, I ain't got in no trouble because, they let me out. So I wasn't thinking about it like that. So she told me to go to the precinct and clear it up. I went to the precinct. They told me, hey, these charges are pending. We haven't officially charged you yet, but they're pending. They got 30 days to charge you, basically what they told me. So I said, cool. So I left, business as usual, still doing my thing. 30 days later, they pull up on this block. I pull in from second. They pull behind me, the narcos. They get out, and they say, hey, we got that warrant signed. So they took me to jail. I did probably about 50 days fighting the case in the county. They was fucking up my bond and, a lot of shit. They was doing whole shit. My phone wouldn't work, So basically, I took it to trial. I wanted to take it to trial. During the pre-trial, the officer on the case who had testified at the bond hearing, lying like a motherfucker, he got it bond over, but he didn't come to the pretrial. Now, when I was in the county and I got my discovery package, on the discovery that was weed that they had amount that they had seized, and it was like 28 grams. But in my head, I knew it was probably 4 or 5 pounds, So
way more than that. They just reported that.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh, they just stole all this weed, and did this or whatever. So come pre-trial, the officer don't show up. So we in the Frank Murphy. We there for, hours waiting. It's about 5 o'clock. Everybody going out the courtroom. The judge is mad.
Waiting for the cop to show up.
Waiting for the cop to show up. He's subpoenaed. He's supposed to be there. So the judge ends up calling the precinct, and they say they can't locate him, so they're going to send a sergeant down for this court appearance right here, and then maybe they'll locate him at the next one. So when the sergeant got down there, he was in the hallway talking. I just so happened to go out of the courtroom to use the bathroom. If anybody know how Frank Murphy is, we in the courtroom. So when you come out, you go right, it's the benches, and you go left around to the elevators in the bathrooms. So I go around, I go use the bathroom. As I'm walking back up the hallway, the hallway so empty, I can hear him talking on the phone, and he on the phone, and he like, yeah, officer such and such is suspended for marijuana use. We don't know where he at. So I'm like, oh shit. I'm like, so he stole the weed and smoking it, and it got caught, you know what I mean? So
you beat the case.
Well, I ended up taking a year probation and felony marijuana. So that's what ended up happening.
Now let's backtrack. Let's go. So when you're growing up, what age did your uncles went away in '86?
Yeah.
So what was life like before they went away?
Oh, beautiful. Everything was gravy, Everything was beautiful. How we grew up, we seen all the best things. big houses, the cars, and that's the memories we had of our uncle and our family, you know.
And I
So-
just was at Doc's birthday party with you guys at the beautiful home just yesterday.
That's right.
So what happens? Do you remember, like, kind of knowing, oh shit, Uncle's on the run and they're in trouble, and what was that all? What?
Well,
You were what, probably 8, 9, 10. What
Yeah.
was your perception of what was going on?
well, we just knew that they was in some major shit, you know. But we was used to
Major trouble.
living comfortably. But you know, we knew that it was something big. You know, we just knew it. You know, and there was talks around the family. We hard headed. We listening.
You know, sneaking
sneaking
listening. By the door in the
Yeah.
room, you know.
So we kind of knew what was going
Your
on.
mother is their sister.
Right.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And so once they went to federal prison, you know, we basically had to, you know, fend for ourselves.
Did the comfortability level noticeably change?
Oh, right away.
Right away.
Right away, because they took a lot of stuff and, you know, seized a lot of shit. So right away, it changed for us drastically.
And so you moved to Woodward.
Yeah, we moved after that. That's when the Burwood and Grand River in Wyoming, anybody who know that area, that's when that saga started for us.
And what was that? You went from what, the burbs to the ghetto.
Yeah,
For sure, that.
quick.
Real quick.
So, you know, it changed for us, but we made the best out of it. And, you know, in turn, we kind of stamped our own legacy in the city, you know.
So they come back and they get out about 96. So you guys are early 20s. And at that point, you know, they definitely they had just lost 11 years of their life. They were not about to get involved, nor probably, I mean, you guys were probably doing a little something. Were they kind of cautious of you?
Of us.
Yeah, and you know, when they got out, they didn't want us involved in that because they knew that we had the smarts and intelligence and was strong enough to do legal things, which we have done, you know, and we're still doing to this day.
You've owned several restaurants.
Oh yeah. I
Tell
done
us about that.
I done had 2 restaurants. I done had one on the East 7 Mile, on 7 Mile and Hull, called the Sausage King, and I had one on 7 Mile and Lindsay called Biggs Boys.
We've had barbershops. We work with the mentally ill. You know, we do a lot of different things. I'm into music, so
I had a record store too.
yeah.
And what was it impressive seeing your uncles put together their financial situation back together legally? Doc especially owned some of Detroit's most popular clubs and bars.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, I feel like my uncle could have been the mayor or the president, you know, with his stature, with his charisma.
And his intelligence.
And his intelligence. So we knew he was capable of that all along, you know.
And Doc's just got a little more gregarious, but Dwayne is the same brilliant mind.
Definitely.
Tell us about Dwayne.
Yeah, Dwayne.
Uncle D.
Uncle D.
Same way.
In itself, he the same way. You know,
You know what I'm saying?
they
Both
smart.
of them 2 of a kind.
That's right.
But you know, Doc might have a little edge.
Yeah.
But
Well,
D,
he's just a little more personable.
Yeah,
definitely. I would say that.
Definitely.
That probably
And-
is the difference.
And your family, despite that, you know, treacherous time they went through, is still. Tell us about your family structure, just not streets, but just the family.
Yeah, everything. We close knitted family. You know, we
Always have been.
always been close. You know, we stick together.
Where were we at yesterday?
We were.
At our moms.
Yeah, you talking about the dinner?
Yeah.
Yeah. We was at my mom's house. You know, she got a nice house. She's been in business since '06.
Doing.
She works with the state, working with mentally ill people and people that's disabled.
One of the nicest homes I've ever been in Michigan.
Yeah, she's
Oh,
been
yeah.
doing that type of work for probably 30 years before she actually started her business. So she's a real hustler, and she made her way, and she benefiting now and living good.
She started from the bottom up. I remember my mom, you know, we could look at the glory days, but I could tell you about the days when we didn't have much and the days that my mama grinded with 3 kids and eventually 4, but 3 kids, and went to work, worked at the medical team, doing going to people's
work.
houses, doing paralegal work and all that kind of stuff. So it was like I watched her grind from the bottom up, and she really did it herself with her own money, with her own thing. You feel me? For sure.
So the same skills that it takes to make it in the street is really for some young person, like, if you got the smarts to make it out here, why not just do it legally?
Absolutely.
That's the truth.
Because see, The
truth.
main part about it is when you mess your record up and you catch cases and you do all it do is set you back. And a lot of these guys who hustling on the street, they got it to do it legally. They just choose to go that route.
They choose to go left instead of right. You know, it just like, my theory is this, just like with the criminal system, it's like when they lock these guys up who big drug dealers and kingpins and all that, I think they should rehabilitate them in a different light, which is teaching them a legal skill on how to run legal business. That's how you change them inside, instead of just locking them up and just say fuck it, because when they come out they're gonna do the same thing. Yeah. So teach them, because obviously they got the brilliant mind to be a kingpin. That's just like Donald Trump, ain't no different than Big Meech and somebody like Trump. But the only thing is he chose left and he chose right. So you take them and rehabilitate them and show them how to do it the legit way, and they'll be CEOs of any company easy.